In a relaxed state, you might hear a story about a flower growing through cracks in the pavement, showing how even in the most unlikely places, life finds a way to flourish. Similarly, your inner worth, like that flower, it grows naturally, with no need to prove itself. As you imagine this, you find yourself connecting with feelings of value, purpose, and authenticity. Recall a moment when you felt even a glimpse of worth, joy, or connection. Amplify this feeling by imagining it growing like a bright light within you. Anchor it with a gesture, such as pressing your thumb and forefinger together. Imagine the belief, I'm worthless, shrinking into a tiny grey dot in your mind's eye. Replace it with I'm worthy, which expands as a vivid, colourful affirmation, filling your mind with brightness. See yourself thriving in the future, confidently acting from these empowering beliefs, and notice how others respond to your new self-assurance. You're worthy and loved. You're enough just as you are. Every moment you grow stronger and more capable. Perhaps there have been moments when you felt unsure, uncertain, but isn't it interesting how even in the face of that, a part of you knows you're more than those thoughts. That part is growing stronger. And as you continue to breathe, you're already beginning to integrate these new beliefs. Like a seed planted in fertile soil, your self-worth is taking root and flourishing naturally and effortlessly. Because you realize, I am enough. I contribute meaningfully. I release guilt and embrace growth. You may have thought at some point that your existence lacked meaning, that no one valued you, and that may have felt real, because those were the thoughts that echoed for so long. But isn't it true? Even echoes fade over time, and as they fade, a new sound emerges, the sound of worth, of purpose, of you finding your voice and your value. What if hiding has been a habit you no longer need? Because there's a part of you, even now, that knows. Your true self is like the sun behind the clouds. It's not flawed, it's just been waiting. And as the clouds drift away, the warmth and the light of who you are naturally shines through. You cannot help but be seen for your true radiant self. And as you sit here now, reflecting, maybe you've realized something new. You've always cared so deeply for others, which means your heart is full of kindness. But what if that same kindness was directed inwards towards you? You might begin to notice you are responsible for your happiness first, and by filling yourself with joy and peace, you naturally share it with others, not out of obligation, but from abundance. Isn't it nice to imagine living that way? There was once a sculptor who stared at a block of marble, thinking it was flawed, too many cracks, not smooth enough, not beautiful. But as they worked, they discovered those very cracks made the sculpture unique, adding character and depth. You are that sculpture, and every experience, even those you felt ashamed of, it shaped your one-of-a-kind beauty. So imagine a garden where no one has planted seeds. The soil just sat there year after year untouched, and one day a gardener came and began planting. The garden came to life, flowers bloomed, birds sang, everything transformed. And just like that soil, all it took was care and intention to reveal its beauty. You are that garden, and the seeds of your worth, they're always there, waiting to bloom. Perhaps at times it seemed like these thoughts were root, like they were permanent, as though your identity was tied to them. You felt them echo, you felt their worth. But isn't it curious? You also sought to change them. And that seeking, that's evidence of worth in itself, isn't it? Because only someone who matters would care enough to grow beyond what no longer serves them. It's fascinating, isn't it? How hiding, it's a way to protect what's valuable. You only shield what's precious, and now you can begin to imagine what would happen if you let yourself shine instead? What if the world saw your true self and appreciated it fully, just as you're beginning to do for yourself now? There was a time when guilt felt like it was protecting you, didn't it? As if holding on to it would keep you from making the same mistakes again. But hasn't it only weighed you down instead? And what if releasing that guilt didn't mean forgetting, it meant learning? What if forgiving yourself gave you strength to grow and help others more effectively than guilt ever could have? It's funny how the smallest actions can create the biggest ripples. A kind word, a smile, a moment of presence. These are often invisible contributions, but they shape the world profoundly. Isn't it possible then that every effort you've made, no matter how small it seemed, was part of a greater purpose? You know, I once heard a story about someone who felt trapped by their past. They thought they could never break free from their own beliefs, but one day they realized beliefs are like rooms in a house. You can leave one and walk into another, and in this new room they found strength, self-worth and love. It wasn't magic, it was just a natural process of growth. And as you think about that, you might begin to wonder, what new room are you ready to walk into now? You can continue to believe the old stories, or you can begin to notice how they're no longer as convincing as they once were. Either way, your mind is already moving towards something more freeing and empowering, because that is what the mind naturally does. And as you breathe deeply now, isn't it wonderful to realize your purpose doesn't have to be grand or perfect. It just has to be yours. And every step you take, no matter how small, adds meaning to your life and the lives of others. And perhaps as you think about it now, hiding has been a habit you don't need anymore, because the more you let yourself be seen, the more you'll discover people love the real you. And guilt, while it once served you, has now taught you all it can. The lesson is complete, and you're free to move forward with wisdom and compassion for yourself and others. Imagine this: tomorrow you wake up with a subtle sense of calm. You notice your thoughts are kinder, lighter. In a week you feel a growing confidence, making choices aligned with your worth. In a month you're helping others in ways you once thought you couldn't. Proof your contributions are meaningful. And every day beyond, your subconscious effortlessly reinforces these empowering beliefs until they feel as natural as breathing.